Da-da-da. Gonna be famous 5 ever, 'cause forever is too short. No, hang on. 4, 3, 4. Fuck it. Right. This is my review of Girls 5 Ever. And if you weren't aware, that was kind of the theme tune to the program. Um, Firstly, I have to say I really don't know why I'm reviewing this. It is absolutely fucking appalling. Truly, one of the worst things I've seen on Netflix. And I don't know. I'm a sucker for punishment. I usually find that if I really do detest something, I'll just bang on about it and really give it an in-depth review. So fuck knows, that's life. I stuck Netflix on one evening, and up came the trailer for this comedy called Girls 5 Ever. Um, and it was actually really, really funny. It was they obviously used a very rare, I must add, comic gold moment to sort of lure viewers in. It was kind of set backstage, and it was before a live performance that the girls were going to go on and do. And Paula Pell's character, Gloria, she's running about going, oh my god, the sweat patches, like my pit stains and all that. And she runs over to this like shower in the backstage room, and to match her like armpit stain, she sort of sprays a shower all over her to make it look like it's soaked all over. I don't know, whatever. It was funny. Something about it was like her delivery was very Melissa McCarthy. So it was that kind of bolshy wit that I quite liked the look of. And the camera work also set it out like a sort of mockumentary. Think Arrested Development, God forbid. I'm not reviewing that. Or Parks and Recreation. So yeah, it was that kind of very realistic and very funny vibe. It looks like my kind of thing. But honestly, it was Girls 5 Ever was so insufferable that I still remember sort of lifting the remote each evening with a groan to turn it on. And you might think, why the fuck did you even bother? Give up after one episode. But I like to make a point of I like to finish things. So if I've started a program, I'll see it through till the end. It's like anything. It's just one of those things. I had to get to the end. So yeah, I was sort of I suffered it basically. So my first point is, if that wasn't enough for an opening, the comedy or lack of Girls 5 Ever is just not funny in the slightest. I think this is what the appeal of it was for me for some reason. But it's one of those sitcoms where you remain completely straight faced throughout, genuinely sort of LOL one or two times every sort of 6 episodes. So it's basically, yeah, it's void of any comic genius. The writers, they failed amazingly, like brilliantly, with the tacky, empty dialogue that means almost nothing as each episode runs. So the characters themselves, it's basically centered around a girl group, or sort of. They had a one-hit wonder back in the 90s or something, and they're trying to regroup and reform and get famous again, even though they weren't in the first place. So the whole thing just reeks of desperation. One character is self-obsessed and bangs on about herself continuously, hinting at this sort of journey of self-discovery and sort of close-ups, where as she performs sort of end of episodes, like close of ep moral speeches. But ultimately it lacks in any feeling whatsoever, as she sort of she says something simple and then the credits roll. So it's not really it doesn't really, well, it's just a complete waste of fucking time. Renee Elise Goldsberry, who plays this character, she missed a trick here big time. She could have molded Wiki, her character, into such a funny, a more sort of sarcastic and ferocious character, full of vanity, like Moira from Schitt's Creek, for example. She really could have done brilliant, but she wavered and just came across sort of plain confused. um, rather like myself throughout the entire two series. Busy Phillips, who plays Summer, she missed the bullseye as much as Renee. In fact, I think their characters should have been the complete reverse. She should have been like Renee's one and Renee's busy one. Um, it didn't make sense at all. Her slurred voice, it kind of, I suppose it entertained me. She spends the episode sort of, she's moaning about how we're gonna make it. And oh my God, like it's really strung out. It's almost like unbearable to listen to. But it does add a little bit of comedy, slightly. Kind of, not at all. But yeah, it basically she just sounds like she's just woken up from a coma, or someone who's just had their wisdom teeth taken out. So yeah, again, Busy Phillips' character, she just wasn't written well at all. Almost everything that she says that's coherent is about fashion and money. What designer created a handbag or a shoes, and how she can't leave her husband because of his emotional fragility. Yeah, it's all just jewelry and singing and latex outfits and stuff. It's just shit. My God, she's like a Tesco value Paris Hilton. That's it. So yeah, I think Girls5eva throughout, I completely just zoned out. You've got your mobile in your hand, and I use this example a lot, but it's true. You're sort of sending WhatsApp messages or something. Which, side note, I would say save Girls5eva for being on a hangover. If you're feeling a bit down and down and dump, and no one around, no one's talking on the WhatsApp, and you just need to stick some shit on to go over your head. It's that. Yeah, or if you're at absolute strings end and there's nothing else to watch, then yeah, it's one of those shows that literally will drive you to your mobile phone throughout. I mean, yeah, I don't know how else to describe this. I basically had my arms behind my head most of the time, sort of sighing and just staring, like vacant stare at the screen. So, why didn't I just switch it off? Again, it's because once I start something, I have to finish it. I'm not, it's not an obsessive thing. It's just that I want to see it through to say that I've watched it. Yeah. Right. So if there's a few positives, I think Girls5eva, it touches very lightly on emotional or domestic sort of issues such as relationships and careers. Sort of threaded throughout both seasons is that whole yearning for the girls to make it big, get onto stage, really power up and just get famous and entertain people. The characters are fucking desperate though throughout. It's almost quite sad to watch. They're just desperate to reignite and even begin their music career. The girls being offered a live gig, well, which I suppose, okay, yeah, so those were the only positives. I'll go back onto the negatives because that's all there is. So, like I say, some of it's quite sad, and one of them was where they're offered a live gig, which turns out to be a teen rave at a local drug den or something. Sara Bareilles character, she's always sort of like checking her phone desperately for news about whether or not they've like written something that's made it, that's passed, and that they could actually perform. Wiki, again, the Renee Ellie Goldsberry's character, she's always like in pieces. She's like really upset all the time over the feedback from like studio producers and things, and then just boulders forward in rage. there are a few sort of calmer, if incredibly boring moments where the girls sort of they sit at a piano and it's all very soothing and they're thinking up ideas for new songs. Um, yeah, it's just oh god, it's terrible, really. So yeah, the positives are it touches on a few sort of realistic things, but otherwise, yeah, yeah, it's not great. I mean, relationships are examined mainly for sort of Dawn and Summer, the two characters, spotlighting the struggle of sort of managing their husband and boyfriend as well as music career. That sort of meanders off. It suddenly becomes this sitcom, a really shit sitcom, where the back even the backing characters. So Sarah Bareilles' character's husband, he's really plain and boring. He delivers some sort of witty dialogue, but there's nothing striking about him. It's just a bit shit. But in the end, it comes down to one major element, and that's that the women are way past it. They've moved on. One has kids and a husband, and another one has a sort of divorce going on. Their fame has actually, well, it never really was fame. It was more of a one-hit wonder. But their fame, it's just, yeah, it's just doesn't really gel, and they're desperately clawing at it, but they just can't win it. So yeah, as the season continues, they try and try and try, but yeah, they end up failing. It's all about desperation. Um, yeah, at one point there's, I mean, one point I kind of liked was Sarah Bareilles. Her character sat in this music studio, and a record producer comes in, and he's like, "Oh, this, these guys want you to create this song for them for their TV advert." And she turns around and she goes, "I'm not going to write them a love song just because they asked for it." And that's a line from her song. "I'm not going to write you a love song because you asked for it, because you need one." That one. Love song, amazingly, it's called. That made me laugh out loud quite heartily. And I was really disappointed with myself because up until that moment, which was about 8 minutes before the final episode ended, I'd hated the entire thing. I didn't know whether to cringe or lull, mainly at myself. So yeah, Girls5eva, fucking hell, it was really misleading. Like I say, on Netflix, this advert that lured me in with the whole sort of Parks and Rec style filming, Melissa McCarthy type bolshy humor from one of the characters. I was really looking forward to it, and I knew it would be tacky, but I didn't know it'd be fucking trash. So yeah, avoid Girls5eva. The theme tune, I mean, it was the only thing I looked forward to. It's again, it's one of them where you're like, the only thing that entertains you is part of the show that really shouldn't be the only bit that entertains you. Okay, right, that's it. I don't know how I made it 13 minutes, but thanks. Christ,